So, as I mentioned in the last video, I was going to see Oppenheimer, and I have seen it, and I thought it was a brilliant film. It may not be for everybody because it's very long-winded, and maybe people thought it would be more about kind of the victims or, something else, but it isn't. It's very much about Oppenheimer, and also obviously the Manhattan Project, which led up to the creation of the bomb. This is the third Nolan film I've seen in cinemas, and every time it's such a interesting experience. He's a very particular director. The sound design in this film is brilliant. The way, it got very noisy at times when, there was tension, especially when it came to Oppenheimer. It really did a good job of kind of portraying how his mental state would have been throughout this whole process. There were a lot of like big names in this film, and I found whenever somebody would pop up, I was like, oh, I recognize you from this or that. I also like Matt Damon in this film as well. He did a really good job as well. This film was like an emotional kind of psychological ride, really. There were times where it did feel more like a horror film than anything else, which would make sense. It's about the creation of a weapon that killed a lot of people, and so I'm glad that Nolan gave it that sort of edge. It was very honest, and I've kind of seen on TikTok people talking about like it making him look like a hero, and I completely disagree. In no way did that film make Oppenheimer look like a hero. It made him look like a, I suppose an intelligent man who kind of just went with something, not really fully understanding the impact what he did would have. He's a very, the whole thing's very morally dubious, and I think Nolan did a good job of portraying that. The soundtrack on this as well was so beautiful. I'm surprised it wasn't Hans Zimmer, but it's somebody else. But I think it's a beautiful sound. I love the colours, the contrast between the colour and the black and white. I thought that was genius. There was a lot of kind of back and forth in this film, but I didn't feel like it hindered it at all. I felt it was fairly easy to follow along with. And this film is very dialogue heavy, just to be warned. I didn't mind. There's a lot to talk about, and it made every character, every person in this film feel like they actually mattered, that they had, a job being there, which I think it's testament to the film, really. Like Cillian Murphy, he should be either nominated for an Oscar or win an Oscar for this performance, because it's not easy to portray someone like Oppenheimer. But he did a fantastic job. I really like this film. It's 3 hours, which is obviously long for a film, but I felt like it was necessary to really tell a story, and even though it didn't it didn't show Japan at all, which would make sense really, because that would be quite disrespectful, I suppose. It would be very disrespectful, but there were hints of the sort of impact the bombings had on with what Oppenheimer was seeing at times. You could see the damage he had done through his own eye. There were a lot of like close-up shots to people's faces in this film, which I think was really important, because you could really see the emotions of the actors. I've also seen Dunkirk and Tenet, and I think this probably is up there with my favourite. Dunkirk was really brilliant as well. Nolan really knows how to do his job well. He's absolutely fantastic, and I really like the film. Probably give it like a 8.5 or 9 out of 10. And I'm going to see Barbie later, so I'll be doing a review of that as well. It's weird though, because this isn't the first time two films like this have come out at the same time. I believe, was it The Dark Knight? Was it Dark Knight? And Mamma Mia came out at the same time as well. So this is like the sequel, which is quite funny. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Barbie, and I'm doing a review of that, and maybe I'll do like, you know, which film is better based on, you know, what, like, you know, cinematography, plot, and all that. So yeah, look forward to that. And yeah, I highly recommend going to see Oppenheimer. It's such a great film. Yeah, if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye for now.